What's going on, people? Well, someone's in my kitchen. What's going on? Let me make sure that this is working. I think that's a good thing to do because I haven't live streamed this way yet. So let's see. Oh no, it's gonna feed back into here. All right, let's see. Okay, hear me. Okay.
I've been told that there's someone screwing over
let's-
investors in the real estate space, so
Bam. All right, hold on. I'm checking my own audio. Let's see. Okay, hear me. Okay.
I've been told that there's someone screwing over investors in
Hey,
the real estate
okay.
space.
We are working. So, this is the first Ryan Fagan Live. I'm just trying some things out. And obviously, there's a lot of news going on in the real estate market, especially in the Northeast and within the community, which is DJ Envy and Flipping NJ or Cesar Pina. Cesar Pina just got arrested for wire fraud, is what they arrested the guy for, but he was doing a real estate investment. Him and Envy were promoting real estate investments, and he was taking people's money for real estate projects, and now he got arrested. And people have been saying for a while he's been scamming, but now Caesar got arrested, but Envy has not been arrested, but they did raid the iHeartRadio at the Breakfast Club, because if you guys don't know, DJ Envy has been on the Breakfast Club for like 15 years or something, and he is a car guy. He's into real estate. He's always talking about money, but the way he got rich or whatever is by being a DJ in the radio. If you guys are in here, make sure you comment. I can see all your comments. And also, the whole point of these is to do Q&A, but I'm just hanging out on this Friday night, and I figured I would do a live stream. So here we are today doing that. But if you guys want to talk about anything else, we can as well. But I'm sick of these scammers, man. Especially within, minority communities. With the rise of the awareness of investing and everything, it seems like scammers are getting more popular because people are thinking about investing, but they don't know a lot. And I also think that there's a lot of desperate people, but there's also a lot of people who are not so educated in finance and are looking to like get rich quick. And I think that promoting educational information or like investing, educational things for investors is getting really popular. And I feel like a lot of people are taking advantage. And we're going to find out. I wonder what you guys think, if DJ Envy is culpable in this in any way, right? Because, and we're going to do some reacting because we have Spencer Cornelia, who did a really good video about the civil cases that are going against Caesar and Envy. We don't have all the information on the criminal, but we definitely want to check all that stuff out. So let's just start the video. I'm going to react to it and kind of give my thoughts and show you guys kind of what's going on. So let's do it. Let's pull this up. Bam. All right.
On October 15, 2018, The Breakfast Club introduced Cesar Pina, a relatively unknown real estate investor in New Jersey, onto the show as a featured guest. Recent lawsuits have been filed against Cesar and DJ Envy, alleging a Ponzi-like investment scheme that has taken millions from investors. It all
I think the number is around 17 million now, but also
started with this interview.
We got a special guest in the building. You might know him on Instagram as Flippin' NJ, my friend Cesar Pina.
5 years later, numerous customers alleged they were defrauded by Cesar. Over the past 5 years, DJ Envy has promoted Cesar as a real estate expert and trustworthy source for learning the game.
What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy.
Flippin' NJ.
DJ Envy and Cesar's partnership seemed innocent until Tony the Closer began receiving messages about investors giving the two money and not receiving any money back. Then, the investigation began. July 21, 2018. DJ Envy posted to his Instagram about a house he purchased in Detroit. A couple of weeks ago, @KnitToGrit introduced me to a guy named Cesar, aka Flipping NJ, that invests in New Jersey real estate.
A friend of mine, his name is Knit the Grit. He owns the label.
Notice Envy and Caesar sitting together, chumming it up, promoting like they work together, right? Why is he sitting there?
Where Fetty Wap is signed to, and he did the introduction.
And they kill. This is the problem in the community. Like, everybody, the influencers, the people that people look up to, the people that people are listening to are freaking entertainers. And these entertainers got rich not from the business that they are now promoting, right? So what they do is social proof. Envy got an AP on, Audemars PK. That's probably like a $50,000 watch or something. And so, wow, if he's rich, I should listen to him, is what happens, right? But he didn't get rich from being a real estate expert. He got rich from the entertainment industry. So we got a whole bunch of people believe in the social proof, but the social proof of him being rich ain't from what he's promoting.
Between me and Envy.
Cesar Pina's Instagram looked like this at the time. The message that Envy shared was he looks like us, listens to the same music, dresses like us, and is from the same place as us. He just had the vision of real estate before any one of us did. He owns over 500 units in New Jersey.
And that's another big pet peeve, and the biggest pet peeve. You got to watch out when that is what everybody's promoting is, oh, he listens to the same music and he looks like us and he wears a hoodie and he likes sneakers. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's how we're making investment decisions.
You have a criminal record, but your criminal record actually got you into this business.
His criminal record got him into the business. Okay.
This seems to be a prerequisite for being a subject of my videos as of late.
I'm more street educated than anything else. When all my friends went to college and stuff like that, chose the streets. Everybody's telling me, oh, you gotta change your life, can't do this, you're gonna end up in jail. So I ended up in jail.
I'm starting to wonder if he and Jay Morrison were roommates in prison, sharing their ideas on how to implement their street knowledge in the real estate game.
I was never thinking about public speaking or anything like that. And I met Envy, he inspired me, and he said I had a great story and I can inspire other people.
DJ Envy introduced Cesar to his millions of followers, which is why he's found himself in the middle of the controversy for what we're going to unveil shortly.
What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy. We picked this up off of auction.com. We outbid somebody.
Just a few months after this Instagram post that used the word "we" a lot, Cesar was introduced to Anthony Barone and Anthony Martini. Martini signed DJ Envy to his record label in 2016. A few years later, when DJ Envy began promoting Cesar, Martini became interested. He trusted Envy from their friendship and because Cesar sounded legit. Envy told Martini that he was a partner on many deals with Cesar that had gone well and mentioned that there was...
All right, hold on. Okay. Notice the Lambo or whatever expensive car that is. Again, these entertainers promote business opportunities with people with Lambos and Porsches in the background, but how'd they get the money for that? Was it from real estate or was it from working at the Breakfast Club and being a DJ and being in entertainment? And that's my biggest pet peeve, is that especially in our culture, people see the glitz and the glam from entertainers, and now they listen to the entertainers, but it's a bad idea.
That had gone well and mentioned that there was a new investment opportunity opening up to partner with them. 385-391 Totowa Avenue in Paterson, New Jersey is where an old school building rots away. Envy told Martini that this location would become a new apartment complex project spearheaded by Cesar and Jennifer Pina. Martini felt confident enough in his friend DJ Envy and this alleged real estate mogul that he invested $1 million into their project.
Started with no money, and here I am, $50 million later in real estate.
How much?
50 million.
Investors felt confident giving him money because they believed he was a real estate mogul. Cesar and Jennifer Pina told Martini that they funded the project with $2.5 million of their own money and a $3.5 million construction loan. Martini's money would help with overruns and operating expenses until the liquidation date. Around the same time, Envy and Cesar met with a man.
Why is Gary V here? Why is Gary V here? What's happening?
Named Anthony Barone, who brought his friends Eaton Sugarman, DJ Clue, and Gary V, as they all indicated interest in the prospective real estate investment opportunities. Over the next 4 hours, Cesar and Envy drove around Paterson, New Jersey, showing off the successful real estate investments they had. One of the properties shown to the group.
So if they're driving around together and he's promoting and he's posting for him and all that kind of stuff, would that leave the normal person to think that DJ Envy is part of these deals, or like what's the connection?
Was 385-391 Totowa Avenue that was being pitched as a chance to turn this rundown school into a financially lucrative apartment complex called.
That looked like a horrible area, by the way.
Taylor Court Apartments. Barone decided to invest $500,000 for a 12.5% interest stake after believing the apartment project would be a good investment. Cesar said construction would be completed a year later in early 2021. What helped Barone solidify his decision was seeing documents for the project also signed by his friend Anthony Martini to proceed with wiring his $500,000 to Cesar. A little red flag is that it's now alleged that Cesar forged Martini's signature.
We had the Jacob Javits Center setting everything up. Last time we had 4,000 a year. So, if you want to learn about real estate.
Federal canine officers are going to utilize Scent when they go hunting for Cesar. The best way to upgrade your scent is with a subscription service like Scentbird. Not only are they supporting my channel and helping me indigo smoke and preference, effect on your style and service is the product they send you. Back to the video. Okay. September 2020, Trevor Roman attends a real estate seminar hosted by DJ Envy and Cesar Pina. Roman wanted to meet one-on-one with Cesar, so he paid $2,500 for a personal coaching session, which turned into Cesar promoting the idea of partnering with him on a deal. On October 20, 2020, Roman signed a joint venture agreement for a property at 91 Harding Avenue in Clifton, New Jersey, where he'd contribute $100,000 and receive a 30% return within 5 months. Using my favorite software, Batch Leads, we can see that 91 Harding Avenue in Clifton, New Jersey was never purchased by Cesar or an LLC he owns. A couple months later, in January 2021, a company titled BTC Investments LLC entered into a joint venture agreement with Cesar Pina. The property address was 27 Boyden Parkway South in Maplewood, New Jersey, where
So he's telling people they can invest in these projects, and he's taking their money. Okay.
BTC would provide $150,000 to Cesar to help facilitate the purchase and rehab of the property. Cesar would return 35% profit within 3 months. In February 2.
So I've seen other people say that a 35% return is kind of outrageous, but when I do a flip, that's what I'm looking at. It's about 30%. That is kind of high. That's cash on cash return, but that isn't that crazy, actually, in my opinion.
2021, Cesar went into a joint venture agreement with Paul Peralta for the property located at 89 Franklin Ave in Hawthorne, New Jersey. Peralta would send Cesar $100,000 and receive 30% profit within 5 months. In March 2021, Mr. Roman contacted Cesar asking for an update because the 5-month period had passed for the property to complete renovations and sell. Cesar said the property hadn't been sold and that Mr. Roman would be better rolling his money into another property investment.
Okay. That's a big red flag. And are these people like looking at the property? Because you would be able to tell, like, was it renovated? Was it not? Is it on the market? Like, what's going on?
Cesar wired him $30,000 from his supposed profit.
But I guess because he was with a famous person, DJ Envy, and they stood in front of a Lamborghini, I guess you trust them more?
And told him to roll over the initial $100,000 into a second property. This new investment property was 109 Lion Street in Paterson, New Jersey. At least this property was purchased by Cesar through his LLC called From Start to Flipping LLC in November 2020 for $210,000. Cesar told Trevor Roman that all he needed was an additional $50,000 and he'd receive all of his money back within 5 months with a little premium added on top. That same month, Paul Peralta and...
Okay, though, like, as an investor, I give somebody money. They tell me they're going to give me a return. 5 months later, when I'm supposed to get the money back, they give me a weird story about how I didn't sell yet, and you don't look into it and be like, what's the house look like? Like, let me check it out. And then he says, oh, why don't you invest in this one at the same time after I didn't perform on the first one? invest more money. Why? Why would you do that?
Entered into a second joint venture agreement with Cesar for the property at 566-568 East 39th Street in Paterson, New Jersey. He would send $200,000 to Cesar and profit $70,000. What I found odd about this arrangement is that 566 East 39th Street in Paterson is for an auto body shop. The apartment next door is address 568-570 East 39th Street. The address listed in the lawsuit was different than what the actual address appears to be. This happened multiple times and I can't figure out why that happened. Cesar bought this property in November 2020 and sold it in February 2022 for a $226,000 difference. May 2021, BTC Investments has patiently waited for their property to sell and recoup their investment. Cesar says, not yet, wait a little longer. June 2021, Cesar and Paul Peralta enter their third joint venture agreement for the property located at 267 6th Avenue in Paterson, New Jersey. Paul will provide $150,000 towards the purchase and rehab and receive $45,000 profit. Cesar bought...
Mind you, where is he finding these people? The seminars and being promoted and going on the Breakfast Club.
Bought this property 4 years prior in February 2017 for $245,000 and obtained a $385,000 commercial mortgage on the property in February 2018. If he had a loan that covered purchase and rehab, why was he taking $150,000 additional dollars from Paul Peralta? Around that same time, Mr. Peralta sent Cesar a final $150,000 as a private money loan for Cesar's real estate operations with the expectation that he'd receive a $45,000 profit.
Okay, why are you giving this guy all this money? And you haven't received anything back? Have you seen progress? Like, what's going on? How does someone have this much money and doesn't make any kind of like due diligence? Maybe I don't, maybe I'm missing something, but that's crazy.
With the expectation that he'd receive a $45,000 profit. On August 30, 2021, Trevor Roman still had not received any updates on his property, but Cesar did send him $2,500. Cesar also told Mr. Roman that he had a new opportunity for him to roll his money into a third joint venture agreement due to the long sales process of 109 Lion Street. The third joint venture agreement credited Mr. Roman with $200,000 towards the next property, which would yield a profit of $70,000 within 5 months when sold. 109 Lion Street, the second property investment offered to Mr. Roman, eventually sold 4 months later in December 2021 for $400,000. But in January 2022, Mr. Roman had still not received any money, so Cesar offered a fourth joint venture rollover agreement for the property located at 126 Jasper Street in Paterson, New Jersey. Mr. Roman was credited with $270,000 towards the fourth property with a profit of $94,500. That meant Cesar would be sending Mr. Roman $364,500 when the Jasper Street property finished construction and sold. The only problem is that Caesar's LLC sold this property in December 2020 for $390,000.
Oh, man. So he's taking money on projects that he already flipped. Isn't it like... What? Why wouldn't you look at the property records? Although, this is kind of a problem because say you just sold a property, it won't show up in public records for quite a while. So maybe he's like, oh yeah, it didn't update yet. And, maybe you take his word because he stood in front of a Lambo,
Which means he didn't own the property when he offered the opportunity to Mr. Roman to partner on the deal.
So the first thing I realized and what I used to do was I used to use my own money. When I met Cesar, I realized Cesar will not use his own money. He's probably one of the cheapest people I know.
I think what envy actually means is Cesar uses other people's money for purchases outside of real estate. November 2021, Cesar notifies Barone and Martini that construction is underway for their apartment building project, even notifying them that workers are there every day and that the plumbing and foundation are done. December 2021, Stanley Acosta attended one of DJ Envy and Cesar's real estate seminars at the Javits Center in New York City. A few days later, he was in Pina's office discussing a potential partnership deal for the property at 145 Union Avenue in Paterson, New Jersey. The only data I see is on Redfin, indicating this property hasn't been sold since 2015. In March 2022, Acosta gave Cesar $150,000 in cash with the promise of $45,000 profit within 5 months. Around this time, Cesar reached out to Barone and Martini to notify them that the Taylor Court apartment project was underway for the second time, but completion would now be around November 2022.
Yo, is anybody looking at the properties? How did you just take this guy's word? You don't drive by like, let me go Let me go see what the project, what's going on with the project. Send me some pictures, send me a video, something.
May 17, 2022, Alexis Hernandez gives Cesar $250,000 for the purchase of 27 South Boynton Parkway in Maplewood, New Jersey. Alexis was promised a profit of $45,000 when the project completed 5 months later. Cesar bought this property for $409,500 17 months earlier in December 2020 with a $385,000 construction loan. Once again, why did Cesar need to raise $250,000 for a project that he already had a construction loan on 2 years prior? June 2022.
So do you catch that? So imagine I come to you and be like, oh, I need 200. Oh, my dog, hold on.
Trevor Roman was ready to get paid out after waiting around 18 months for his projects to sell. He went to Cesar's office and demanded money. Cesar obliged by giving him 2 checks totaling $163,000. But Cesar said not to cash them because those accounts didn't have the money just yet. Cesar then offered him a 5th joint venture agreement for the property at 16 Gunther Place in Passaic, New Jersey. Cesar purchased this property through
Hold on, though. So you've been investing hundreds of thousands of dollars. You haven't seen any progress. He writes you a check but tells you not to cash the check. And then he offers you another great investment.
his Warehouse LLC in August 2014 for $97,000. Mr. Roman probably didn't know that Cesar was having serious money problems around this time. On June 30, 2022, Alexis Investment and Funding 2 LLC filed a foreclosure complaint against Cesar and Jennifer Pina. The Pinas took out a commercial loan secured by a second mortgage for their property in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, in the amount of $594,633. That's on top of the $2.5 million mortgage when they purchased the property. In 2013, the property looked like this. A decade later, and they've built a beautiful mansion. The loan foreclosing on them only cost $5,000 a month. You would think it wasn't that much for a real estate mogul. August 2022, Anthony Martini is tired of Cesar not responding to his calls, so he decides to drive by the job site for his massive Taylor Court apartments deal.
Finally!
He finds that no construction has been done despite Cesar saying it began months ago.
None.
He demands Cesar to return his money. According to Batch Leads, this property doesn't have a mortgage. But Cesar told Martini that he would have his money back once he could refinance the debt on the property. This same month, August 2022, Cesar met the next victim we'll label EB, who had just received a settlement agreement for being abused and SA'd.
no.
Wanting to solidify a secure financial future for her and the kid on the way, she decided to meet with Cesar, who promoted himself as being a real estate mogul with significant experience and success. Property number 1 for their partnership would be 470 River Street in Paterson, New Jersey, where she'd provide $250,000 and receive 30% profit within 5 months. Cesar bought this property in March 2014 for only $90,000. Property number 2 would be 523 Park Ave in Paterson, New Jersey, where she'd provide another $250,000. Cesar bought this property September 2018 for only $225,000. Property number 3 would be 149-151.
She invested in 3 properties!
New Jersey, where she'd provide $100,000. Cesar bought this property in April 2019 for $140,000 using a construction loan of $256,000.
Oh
a month later, Cesar notified EB that he had another investment opportunity for her where she'd contribute an additional $150,000. Despite taking money from these investors, Cesar couldn't pay his credit card bill. On September 9, 2022, Amex filed a complaint against Cesar Pina and Pina Management LLC for defaulting on their credit card bill. Amex alleges that the Pinas didn't even pay the minimum amount due and their account balance was $94,800.99.
So basically, homie's just taking everybody's money. He's taking out loans. He's taking people's money for the project, not doing the project, not paying the credit card company, not paying the mortgage, not paying the loan. Where's all this money going?
On that
How do you even spend it? This is millions of dollars.
same day, Cesar signed an agreement with Amy Flips LLC for 2 joint venture agreements and a personal guarantee on both. Cesar allegedly couldn't pay his credit card bill, but he was accepting money from another investor. I'll let you determine why. Property number 1 with Amy Flips was a $250,000 investment for 27 South Boynton Parkway in Maplewood, New Jersey. If that property sounds familiar, that's because it is. Just 3 months earlier, Cesar signed a joint venture agreement for that same property with Alexis Hernandez. Property number 2 was another $250,000 investment for 89 Franklin Avenue in Hawthorne, New Jersey. Cesar bought this property for $260,000 5.5 years earlier in March 2017. October 2022, Trevor Roman wanted his money money, so he stormed into Cesar's office again. Cesar gave him 2 checks for $80,000 that did clear.
I'm like, I'm leaving here with something.
October is when Alexis Hernandez's loans are coming due. Cesar sends 2 checks to Alexis. Check number 1 for $100,000 and check number 2 for $250,000. Both bounced due to insufficient funds. Despite the heat turning up, Cesar still found a way to introduce...
So, I mean, it's basically a Ponzi scheme, right? So he goes to the first investor, says, hey, give me money. I'm going to flip this house that I bought for really cheap. And sometimes he don't even own the property. But then he goes to the next person, hey, let me borrow some money. I'll flip it and give you more money, or 30%. And then he takes out a loan on the same property. So, like, say the job only costs $250,000 to do, he's borrowing $400,000 on that house. So he has enough money to do it. But what he's doing is just giving the first investor some of the money and then taking more money for the same project over and over and over again. And where are these people coming from, right? How is this guy getting all this money from these people? From the seminars that's getting promoted. Now he's, on the Breakfast Club, et cetera, et cetera. That's how people are trusting him. He's with envy in front of a Lamborghini.
4 more victims into the scheme. October 7, 2022, Genamar Investments LLC and Cesar entered a joint venture agreement for $100,000 for the property located at 149-151 Manchester Ave with the promise of 20% returns in 5 months. This is the same property as EB's third joint venture agreement just a couple months prior and already had a construction loan covering the purchase and rehab. The following week on October 12, 2022, Derek D'Angelo signed a joint venture agreement with Cesar for the property at 523 Park Avenue in Patterson, New Jersey for $100,000.
Now, speaking about DJ Envy, right? Like, say maybe he wasn't involved in this business part, although why is he speaking for him then? But how long does this go on until people contact you like, yo, this guy that you've been promoting owes me money? How many people have to contact you before you're like, hold up? Let me stop promoting this. Let me say something. Let me try to resolve it because I promoted this guy. So what's your responsibility if you're promoting a scammer?
Unbeknownst to Derek, Cesar had just signed an agreement with victim EB for that same property. Cesar promised Derek 30% returns within 5 months. 2 weeks later, on October 25, 2022, Cesar met with On-Site Properties LLC to give him access to a partnership for properties 149-151 Manchester Ave in Patterson, New Jersey, and 523 Park Avenue in Patterson, New Jersey. If the addresses are starting to sound the same, that's because they are. Cesar was signing multiple agreements with investors and accepting significantly more capital than necessary to complete the projects. On-Site Properties LLC handed over $300,000 to partner on those 2 properties. Hector Santana met with Cesar during this same week and signed joint venture agreements with Cesar for the Manchester Ave property and 462-464 East 24th Street in Patterson, New Jersey. Cesar purchased the 24th Street property 3.5 years before in April 2019 for $202,000 and sold the property.
But I think we're getting the point here, so let's skim forward, right? He's up to $5 million.
He would respond to the next victim, Christian Vasquez. Cesar promoted the Manchester Avenue property in Patterson once again. Agreement would be for the property on Manchester Ave in Patterson, New Jersey. These 3 separate investors hand over a combined $900,000. All 3 signed joint venture agreements for the Manchester Ave property, while the largest investor of the 3 signed 2 other JVs for the Park Avenue Site Properties LLC after 6 months of...
So this guy is taking $1 million for a $500,000 house.
Cesar's office demanding an update and threatening legal action after Cesar had cut communication. Cesar lied again, saying that the construction at the properties was nearly complete and her money would be on the way next month. Cesar also met with On-Site Properties LLC after 6 months of refusing communication. Cesar advised this victim that he should roll his investment into another property, which he did not take kindly. Also in March, Cesar met up with Hector Santana to advise him on rolling his $350,000 initial investment into the park.
All right, you guys aren't going to like this take, but look at homie, yo. Just look at him. All right. I'm not trying to body shame. I'm not in the best shape of all time, right? But if you just sloppy out here, You don't care about yourself. And what, like, look, the way you present yourself matters. And, bro, like, how are you? I don't know. It speaks to gluttony a little bit. Like, bro, you don't have any control over your impulses. And this is why you taking people's money. Because I wonder, he probably knew what he was doing, but maybe he didn't know what he was doing and was like just robbing Peter to pay Paul. Because this happens in construction a lot, right? Like a contractor will take a job, they'll get paid a certain deposit or upfront amount, and they have to live off that money and do the project. And especially if they have the materials, or money for the materials, they'll run out of money before they can finish the project. And then they have to book another construction job in order to pay for the first one. And eventually it catches up to you. And I'm just saying that, like, I don't know, man. You can't trust a dude that just don't take care of himself. I'm sorry.
$1,000 initial investment into the Park Avenue property other investors had
Good
already
choice.
invested in. Cesar gives Hector 2 post-dated checks, one for $70,000 and another for $100,000. The first one cleared, but the second check bounced. April 2023, Cesar sends Ransom Endeavors Inc. a check for $30,000 representing 50% of the interest owed from the projects. After 6 months of avoiding contact, Cesar reaches out to Stanley Acosta asking for bank account information so he could send the proceeds of a property sale. The money never arrived. Cesar finally answers Derek D'Angelo's communication and asks him to drive multiple hours to his office. Derek picked up checks totaling $130,000. They both bounced. Derek threatened to report Pina, which influenced Cesar to send a wire of $30,000, leaving the initial $100,000 still missing. If you're wondering,
You know what the problem is with scams like this is that even if you catch them, say you sue them, right, and you win, when you get a judgment, you still have to try to collect, and the court does not really help you collect, which I know from experience. So what happens is you get a judgment, and then you got to file all kinds of different stuff. You could try to garnish their wages. You can put liens on their properties. But if they just take all this money and blow it all and lose everything, even though you win, you're not going to get anything. So I feel like these scammers just sometimes just say, well, eventually I'll get caught, but I'll hide the money or give it to a friend or do something and hope that they can't collect all the money back from me and I'm just going to keep it. That's the messed up reality of it.
where the money came from, the final victim, Chamberlain Group Real Estate Ventures LLC, invested $835,000 with Cesar for the Manchester Ave and Boyden Parkway properties. They were promised a significant return within 6 months. May 2023, Cesar sends 2 checks to Onsite Properties LLC, one for $100,000 and another for $37,000, and he was told not to deposit them just yet. Those checks have still not cleared to this day. June 2023, Barone and Martini are getting anxious that their property does.
Hold on, is writing a bad check illegal? Like if you know it's gonna bounce? Let's check it out. Is writing a bad check illegal? In New Jersey, the penalties and fines for writing a bad check depend on the amount of the money involved. This is from Rosenblum law. A bad check worth less than $200 is a disorderly person's offense. That's nothing. Penalties include 6 months in jail and a fine of up to $1,000 if the check value is between $200 and $1,000. The offense is a 4th degree. Let's see what the whole thing says here. Is writing a bad check, like, what's the worst that can happen to you? In New Jersey, one is presumed to have known that the check or money order other than a post-dated check or money would not have been paid if any of the following occurred. If they did not have an account at the time, the payment was refused, the deposit was made for collection, blah, 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 then one will not be presumed to have known that the check would not have been honored. In this case, the prosecutor will bear the burden. A bad check. Okay, so what if it's over $75,000? It's a second-degree offense, up to 5 to 10 years in jail, and $150K fine. How to beat bad checks. There are many honest reasons why a check may have bounced and/or a person may not have attempted to rectify it. A person can beat a charge of writing a bad check in New Jersey if any of the following. The check was cashed more than 30 days after it was issued. The check did not have the correct signatures. A hold was issued for the check in question but was not honored by the bank. The notice of the bounce check was not issued or received. The check issuer and recipient were aware the check was post-dated, meaning it was filled out with a future date, but the check was deposited. So don't do that. Interesting. Right, let's go back to this. Although
Doesn't seem to be close to being ready to rent or sell.
What's up,
Martini
Drew?
decided to drive by the property, and this is what he found. All lawsuits point to Cesar cutting off communication with all investors. My guess is his phone is in his back pocket and he can't reach it. What's not a joke.
Yo, man, look, I'm sorry. I'm not giving this guy money. He gonna eat it or something. Like, what's going on? You gonna give this guy money? He can't stop. He just gonna take your money. It's horrible.
My guess is his phone is in his back pocket and he can't reach it. What's not a joke is the amount of victims in this investment scheme. I only know of about 20, which brings us to DJ Envy.
And we only expected like 50 people at the seminar that we did. The first one we did, it was like 1,500 people. The second one was like 3,000, then 5,000, then 10,000.
Because of DJ Envy's influence, he was able to sell out large rooms for his real estate seminars with Cesar Pina. Many of the complaints explain how they met with Cesar because of watching him on stage at the seminar.
All right, notice all the chains, right? This is how you get people. You make your money in the entertainment industry, and then you do a real estate seminar with thousands of people that want to give you money. But the people think because how you got these chains, right? You're a rich guy, you know what you're doing. But you don't. You do music and stuff, entertainment. He didn't get rich through real estate.
We currently own and manage and also have projects that we're building now from the ground up of 3,000 units.
This video was filmed in June 2022. The
Homie just
same month a
lying.
mortgage company was foreclosing on them on their primary
3,000
residence.
units.
They've been
Where they
paying
at?
like $2,000-3,000 for seminars, $5,000 seminars, and then when they get to the
Sheesh.
seminar, they
That's a
don't
down
learn
payment.
anything. Then to talk to people, they got to pay more money, and we tried to stop that.
It's alleged in the complaints that they did the opposite. Following the speaker presentations, members of the Pina network, including DJ Envy, set up booths at which they offered private consultations with seminar attendees. They
Okay.
obtained all of their content.
So this is where envy gets culpable, right? Because you're running these seminars, which if you guys go to these real estate seminars, usually they're about wholesaling or some BS, and then they try to charge you a whole bunch of money, like Envy was saying. And Envy is talking about, oh, well, we don't charge that much and blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, they're using this as a recruiting tool, as you'll see.
Contact info, and then they sized up the financial resources in order to solicit attendees with high net worths for their joint ventures, and then offering consulting services with Cesar for $1,500 to $2,500 per meeting at his office. It seems that every meeting in his office turned into a pitch for his joint ventures.
And you know, there's also a lot of seminars out there that are trash and that people are playing off your hope. So
these events, which starts becoming a marketing funnel, right? People start now coming into mentorships. They come to these events to be able to get game. But then most of these events, there's that same thing that you talked about that you don't like, the upsell. See, because I pay attention, right? You had a major problem with people who had live events and then they didn't teach much information, and then they do these upsells for higher mentorships, et cetera, investment opportunities. Well, it seems as if that's what's now happened with you and Cesar.
Now let's analyze Envy's potential liability.
Has anybody ever gave me $1, a dime, a nickel, a quarter, $100, $1,000, $100,000, or $500,000, or $1 million?
That is the biggest cop out ever. Let me promote this thing. Let me lead you to this guy. Let me say that he's great. Let me use my celebrity to promote somebody, and he's stealing. But I didn't take $1, so it's not my fault at all. I ain't got nothing to do with it. And since 2018, Envy hasn't said anything about it until recently.
Not one person. because I make.
And he says non-committal things like, "Oh, well, he owes me some money. I don't know what he was doing though, but I didn't take no money." But it was we, us, we, and now it's, oh, I didn't take $1. Oh shoot!
I pay attention, right? You starts becoming a marketing funnel to get gas. There's that people who had live events, and then, well, it seems as if that's what's now happened with you and Cesar.
Now let's analyze Envy's potential liability.
Has anybody ever gave me $1, a dime, a nickel, a quarter, $100, $1,000, $100,000, or $500,000, or $1 million? Not one person. Because I'm making my business not to take money from nobody. And there's nobody on this live, and there's nobody in here that could ever say Envy, they gave Envy $1.
Envy used the word "we" a lot when posting videos at properties with Cesar. In the description of this Instagram post, Cesar writes, "We can fix it and make a profit."
What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy. Flipping that Jay. Join us July 31st right here at the Jacob Javits Center. We're doing a real estate seminar talking everything real estate from Airbnb to wholesaling to flipping. Not only that, you can partner with us on some deals.
You can partner with us.
Your partner.
DJ Envy is not being honest.
So if you're partnering with us, who is us? Who is us? Because now Envy said it's just me. I didn't give money. I don't know nothing about us. Come on, bro. It's funny because that's why I feel like I probably could raise investor money for like the flips and stuff that we do. Actually, we did raise money, but this from a family member for the property I'm doing now. But I've always been uncomfortable for a couple reasons. First is that people don't understand real estate investments. So getting your money out could be slow. Plus, there's risk. And if we do a bad deal where we lose money, they definitely could feel like some shady stuff happened, right? Because I mean, depending on how you structure the deal. Now, if they do a loan, it's a little easier. But if they're like a joint venture, I mean, what if you like inflated the construction cost? I mean, what I'm saying is like they could feel that way, right? Like, oh, maybe they pocketed some of the money. I just feel like taking people's money is very risky, and there's a lot of trust, and you need transparency. And I don't know if we had the systems to like take people's money, because I would want to have an accountant or some kind of auditor, and they need to be able to see how the money's being spent, all that kind of stuff before you take money from somebody. What's up, Kevin? How you doing? But so that's why personally I haven't taken money. In the future, we'll probably figure out how to do that. Although I feel like all these celebrities scamming, because it's not just Envy, because we could talk about some of the scammers that Earn Your Leisure has. We could talk about the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, which clearly is going under right now, which Jay Morrison basically is, I think he's siphoning the money, allegedly. Who else? Oh, big business. Greg Parker has all these lawsuits. Now, I get it because, again, people can say someone's scamming because they don't understand the business, but clearly in these situations right now, we're seeing a lot of proof that is looking like a scam.
About his relationship with Cesar, he may not have directly accepted money, but he promoted financial partnerships as a reason to go to the seminars.
So many people were like, "Yo, don't mess with him. He's a con. He's a felon. He's a criminal. He's a this. He's a that. You know, don't mess with him."
Yeah, like why in our community we got to partner with people who've been in jail for fraud and this and that? Like, I'm sure there's plenty of respectable real estate people. They just don't wear cool hats and chains and stuff, I guess. Like, what's up with that? Why are we drawn to like criminality and, you know, like hustle culture, street culture? Where's the boring people that do this quietly? You know, like they need more shine. Because the cool hats and all that and the cool clothes is cool, but I don't think that's how they're getting people. Oh, he's just like us. He dresses just like us. He's got drip just like us. Oh, I like his chain. I like this. He must know what he's talking about. We got to do better.
His behavior, alleged in the complaints, is indicative of someone who is still a con man.
Started with no money, and here I am.
Come on, man. You giving this guy money? That's crazy.
$50 million later in real estate.
We do $50 million later. Who checked this? Who verified this?
How much?
$50 million.
How is this dude claiming to own $50 million in real estate, yet not have the ability to pay anyone back in the past 3 to 5 years?
What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy. I know it's late at night. We're still in the office.
It's going to be hard for Envy to prove that he was a non-party to Cesar's business operations when his office was literally right next door, and he mentions we did deals in the majority of their posts.
But now it seems like you're fishing for things that put me involved. Just because I'm in the office with somebody else doesn't mean that me and that person is doing anything with each other.
Cesar's last post on his personal Instagram page is February 20th of this year. The last post of Cesar on DJ Envy's account is on July 26, 2022.
I didn't hit with Cesar a couple of times and flip money in less than 30 days. Some of my buildings, like the school, we still got, and I haven't got my money back yet. But I know that's part of the game.
That's not part of the game. Like, I don't get it. He's buying these properties and not moving on them at all. Like, that's not part of the game. When you buy a property, you have a plan and you execute it. You got a rehab budget. You talk to your contractors. You line it up, get the permits, blah, 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 whatever. Even in a situation where, like, say everything isn't permitted or you got to go through zoning, usually there's contingencies for that. So where the applications put it, like, what's happening that the project isn't happening? How do we invested in a school? Here's $1 million. It don't make sense. Why? Like, where's the plan? Because when I take hard money, we got to tell them everything we're doing with the property. We got a contract. We signed all kinds of paperwork. Y'all just giving people money for the school, and they say we're going to do a school. What's the floor plan? Who's the architect? Did you pull the permits? Do you have zoning approval? What's going on? And look, I'm not trying to victim blame, but like, what you just give people money? I mean, the problem is, to have some understanding, you're not a real estate expert, so you probably don't know what to check for. So I guess it's easy for these guys to take advantage, but giving people hundreds of thousands of dollars, like, I'm gonna need to see something. And what's their track record? You know? So, I don't know, guys.
He platformed Cesar and promoted him for 4 years. I think it's his responsibility to be completely transparent with everything that happened.
Credit card scams, right? Credit card scams.
Yeah, so before that, from the age of 16 on, I was selling drugs.
Even better, Cesar found his mentor in prison.
The funny thing is that when I was in jail, I actually met a guy who was a real estate developer already. And he actually kind of became my mentor. He inspired me to get into real estate once I...
All right, sorry. For the culture, why are we enamored by things like this? And this isn't a red flag and disqualification. He was scamming credit cards. He was scamming. So why wouldn't he scam you? How does this not make sense? But because I guess in the culture, everybody get a tough shake. But no, he was scamming and he got caught. And y'all want to give him money? Give me money. How about that? Write me a check if you just giving criminals who, not even just criminals, like, he already went to jail for scamming, and y'all giving him millions of dollars. But the problem is, and this is where Envy comes in, your DJ Envy is standing next to you, siphoning people to you.
I came home.
He didn't say the mentor's name, but how funny would it be if the guy was Mr. Three-time felon real estate mogul Jay Morrison?
And I even told you, because when we had that conversation, I called him last night. I'm like, do you owe anybody money? Cesar told me no.
Now that DJ Envy has been alerted to the numerous lawsuits alleging investors being owed 100% of their money, it's hard for me to give him the benefit of the doubt moving forward.
I think you and Envy, y'all partnership has really helped, the both of y'all in a real way. Because
DJ Envy benefited from promoting Cesar for 4 years. I think it's partially his responsibility to work with Cesar to make sure the victims get paid back. Additionally, Envy allegedly gave Cesar $500,000 for this apartment project. Cesar raised money from Envy and associates, and not a single ounce of progress was made on the property for years. Envy was still promoting him despite a pretty massive red flag.
And here I am, $50 million later in real estate. We currently...
Hold on. So Envy gave you money for years for a project that never moved, and he continued to promote this guy. That's pretty damning, right? Like, he's messing up your business, and you're still working with him. I mean, I guess he's giving you the runaround.
We own 3,000 units.
It's time for Cesar to prove he's either legit or a con man.
And back then, I thought nothing was going to happen. It was a white-collar crime, and I've done so much other things worse than that, right? At that point, I'm like, oh, this is nothing.
He either sells units to pay off victims, or he never had them in the first place. And if he never owned more than a few houses while being promoted as someone who owned 3,000 units, then I think the pressure DJ Envy is feeling is deserved. Just as I completed writing the script for this video, I came across this post on Instagram of an attorney letter alleging their client sent Cesar $1.4 million in 2017 and 2018.
Oh my
The
God.
commenter wrote, "They got my boy for $60K. One thing that may help the victims is we at least know that when the feds come knocking, Cesar won't be able to run away." Thanks for watching.
All right, so homie got arrested a couple days ago. So that's what we know now. So what do you guys think? So I got the StreamYard link up if you want to hop on. We can talk about anything. This, obviously, since I'm in real estate, in the same type of business, I don't do these big projects yet, but it's the same concept. It's really frustrating because I just think in our community we have a lot of people taking advantage of the coolness. That's what's really messed up, right? Like, there's a lot of energy around investing and real estate and crypto and stocks, and that's good. Financial education and financial literacy and more awareness towards that. But then we got these vultures messing it up for people. And I think it's even easier because they're preying on, well, these people with hundreds of thousands of dollars, where are they getting the money from? They should know something. But again, the celebrity factor is the thing. I mean, this is classic where you have somebody with public trust that promotes something that's no good. Oh, Yay said he paid $1 million in bail. Right, so it's funny because how's he getting a bail money if he's getting foreclosed and all this other stuff? But I think what these scammers do is probably move their money around, give it to family members, hide it, do different scams. So even if they get caught, they still have money, right? And I think I was watching something else and they were talking about the fact that they know eventually they're going to get caught. It's just like, if you rob a bank, right, and say you get $500,000 and you bury the money or hide it somewhere, and the cops, for some reason, and you don't snitch on yourself, and you hide the money, and they put you in jail for 5 years, but you get to keep the $500,000 because you hid it somewhere, or say $250,000. Would you take that deal? 5 years for $250,000? Probably not for $250,000, but what about $500,000 or $1 million? So let me just scam people. Let me scam. I got money for bail, lawyers, blah, blah, blah. Plus, I'm going to put money hidden away overseas. I don't know how they do it, but they put money somewhere else. And so they just take the consequences, but the consequences for white collar crime sometimes is not that severe. Plus, the type of jail they go to ain't that crazy. And I guess if you got no respect or honor for yourself, why not? Why not do it? Why not? Why not steal? And it's real frustrating. You know, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Okay? So, do we think that what's Envy's culpability in this, right? Because I believe that he probably didn't take anybody's money, and maybe in the beginning he didn't know. But at some point, right? At some point, you gotta see. I know somebody called him like, "Yo, homie, done took my money, and I'm messed up out here." Right? Like, no, Envy just didn't know he wasn't paying people back for 3-4 years, 2018. For all these years, he didn't know. And is that illegal? So that's what I want to know. Let's try to look it up, right? Like, so is it illegal to, let's see, promote a scam? Let's see that. Is it illegal to promote a scam? Marketing fraud. I want to see the legal definition though. Let's see. Let's bring up my search here. Well, let's just see what Investopedia has to say. Marketing fraud is an illegal practice that makes false or misleading promotion claims for financial gain that includes exaggerating the qualities of a product or service and advertising. Marketing fraud involves the illegal use or of false, misleading promotional statements. This is not really what I'm looking for. Stock promotion. Yeah, I don't. What's up, Maurice? How you doing? We're trying to figure out if what Envy is doing is illegal. Actually, I have another video, so let's check out the video. I didn't watch this one yet, so maybe no, not that one. All right. Is this the one I want?
The first video I made covering this story went crazy. Many of you are saying Cesar should be in prison. Some of you want DJ Envy in prison too.
So what we want, because Cesar's a nasty scammer, okay, allegedly. But I think what's more important is DJ Envy has been a prominent figure on the Breakfast Club, which is probably the biggest black media platform in the last decade. Oh, we have a comment. He wrote a book. It's a whole family enterprise with contractors, etc. Yo, this guy's got a book. But okay, so this is the thing, and this is what I want to get to, is could he have done any of this? Could he have sold books? Could he have gotten all these investors if Envy didn't sponsor him? And where does your responsibility come in for sponsoring this guy, right? So I could see, like, I promote people for certain different things, right? And I don't always know everything they do, but at what point did Envy become aware of this? Because there was heat on this for a while, and Envy's just on the Breakfast Club arguing with Tyrese and his wife and looking goofy and fighting with Rick Ross and looking goofy and light skinned, making us light skins look bad for a while without addressing any of this. Actually, Joe Budden says something about it. Actually, I'm gonna pull that up. Let's see. Yo, there's mad people live talking about this. This is crazy. All right, let's see what Joe Budden had to say. Hopefully this doesn't demonetize me.
For business cards.
Because I kind of agree with this.
But did you know we also print that?
And I know people hide behind this lawyer thing, but yo, you didn't hide behind legalities when you was promoting this guy. But now you're going to say, well, my lawyer said I shouldn't say nothing. And you know, I got to protect myself. Well, how about you protect the people that you promoted to lose all their money? Especially, there's a story where there's a guy who actually passed away in a car accident, and he has 2 kids, and he lost $300-something thousand that now his family is trying to recoup so that they can make a trust for the kids. And because you want to protect your own finances, you don't care about that. And I think that's messed up. You won't even say anything about it. And I think that's messed up.
Sitting home, peaceful, not invited to no cookouts or nothing like that. Me and my baby. But it was like a holiday weekend, so I was had my phone in my hand, and I was waiting for somebody out there to give me something, because Memorial Day weekend, I know somebody out there is going to do something stupid.
And what happened?
I wasn't looking for the drama. I wasn't looking for the shootouts and that bullshit niggas did in Hollywood, Florida. I wasn't looking for none of that. I was looking for my entertainment peers to really go out on the ledge and get fucked by, I don't know, somebody, a scammer, fly somebody out and they go bad, shoplift. You know, I was waiting on
give you something. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sure enough, my man Envy came through. Yeah, he did. He was the only one. Nobody else came through for me.
What is this video?
I didn't see it.
There's a little bit. There's a little bit.
Oh, give it to me. So where should we start?
We can start there, but somebody else came through.
4 months
some drama
ago.
for us.
4 months ago.
Oh, my man. See, but I don't even count him. That's my man. That's my man. Me gonna always give me a little something.
Mr. Consistent.
That's my man right there. I like when he get on his phone. He had a nigga too. He say, I love people that say what's really on their mind on the internet. Yo, this is over a bitch. I said, listen, where we starting? We starting with Envy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What chapter?
Oh God! I feel like we should start at the beginning.
It's a lot of things with Envy. Him being accused of stealing with his partner.
Yo, you know what's pissing me off too? That actually is really getting to me. That when people are in, like, when they have goodwill with the public, or like they are respected, you know, because of the facade that they have created or the persona that they have created, everybody's scared to say something. Meanwhile, in the background, they are acting very unethically. How can you respect what Envy promoting this scam to, you know, people who are getting settlements for SA, and, you know, these aren't rich people. A lot of these people aren't rich people. I mean, some of them was given a lot of money, but some of these people just believed in DJ Envy. And they believe that he talks about real estate, and he's always flossing his money and all that kind of stuff, standing in front of Lambos, promoting this guy. And now you see they're scared on Joe Budden to talk about it. Look at them. Look at how diplomatic they're being. And I get it, because the allegations are still not confirmed, but like, come on now. We know what happened.
Cesar in a scam, a real estate scam.
Look at their faces. No one want to say nothing.
Gunplay also had Envy
like
on the
when I
phone.
first started with real estate, right? If you follow me, you know that I'm really cool with Clue. I'm really cool with Fabulous.
I don't waste
I
no
was
time.
really cool with Joe at one time.
Oh.
So when I started with the real estate,
Joe Button?
Yeah,
Shout
Joe
out to Joe Corey. He said that one time.
No, I was. I mean, we don't speak, so I mean, there's no stab.
Light skin being.
Nah, let me let it play.
Being facts. So when I first started, I called each one of them. Right? I called Clue, who's my brother. Yo, I'm getting into real estate. I'm doing well. We should do some stuff together. They didn't understand it. I remember calling Joe. Joe told me it sounded like a scam. And I called Fab.
Sounded like a
Fab
scam.
didn't get it.
Rewind that just in case.
I'm getting into real estate and I'm doing well. We should do
rewind
some
it.
stuff together.
It's years
They
ago.
didn't understand it. I remember calling Joe. Joe told me it sounded like a scam.
Yeah.
Is that true? Did you tell him it sounded like a scam?
No, facts.
Okay. Yeah. You know, like
Big facts.
Okay.
And what do you know? And they would have gotten away with it, too.
Gotta.
If it weren't for those meddling kids.
And that dog.
And that fucking dog. But early in this clip, and this is what I mean about envy, and we'll get to all of the Tony the Closer gunplay stuff.
Get to it.
But just early in this clip, he says, let me play it. Somewhere me and Flip had a conversation with me as someone that he is not speaking to. We have not spoken. And there's a list, it'll be me, you, and Queen Latifah, and whatever the fuck he was saying, because I was walking my dog in the backyard, so I want to stop listening at this point. But that just sounded fishy. You give me some money, we're going to take it, we're going to get this, we're going to get that. In my brain, I didn't need to, that wasn't where I was in my professional career, where I needed to take a lump sum of money and give it to somebody I wasn't speaking to do some real estate. There's people in place to kind of advise me that way. So I left it alone. Now, we get to Envy and his business partner, Cesar. Tony the Closer, if you're unaware, has been on.
Yes.
And what he's saying is that Cesar, not Envy, Cesar, that number.
Give it a take, Joe.
That people are allegedly saying that they gave him under different pretenses.
And is it the likes of the people that you named just a couple
I
seconds
don't know.
ago?
I don't know who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tony the Closer's thing. But
And why is
Y'all
he
can
got a
talk while I
slider
do
on
what you
this
know.
podcast?
Well, as a real estate guy, I mean, is this something that's kind of happens a lot?
Yeah, ish.
I mean, it's a few different ways that you look at it. Of course, I've been following it. You have a whole bunch of people that say basically they invested money with Cesar, and he was giving them a quality return.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then throughout, you double down. So if you give me $100,000 and I give you 120, 130 back, that's a great return. That's a 20, 30% return.
Got it.
If you get 20, 30% of return on your money, you'll go far in this business, in any business.
Yes.
So they had a couple people that said, y'all gave him 100, he gave me 120, I gave him 100, he gave me 130, I gave him another 100, he disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
He's writing me bounce checks, he's not answering my phone calls. Cesar is a real estate professional. He has been for some time.
Stop the cap.
Successful, very successful, especially by
$50 million.
mom and pop, not even mom and pop
3,000
standards. I ain't
units.
gonna disrespect him, man. He's been successful.
Stop it.
Not answering nobody's phone calls. And that's the deal that they are kind of still up in the air on.
Okay.
In hearing Envy speak, he said that basically every deal he's ever done with Cesar was on the up and up, except for that particular one. They bought a school, and they were going to renovate the school and make it housing.
Okay.
And that deal is kind of stuck. What happens is, and again, I don't want to bail him out because your morals is your morals, but a lot of times when you give people money for investments could go up and go down.
Mm-hmm.
If I give a stockbroker my money, ain't no guarantee that money going to turn into profit.
Yeah, but
right? So
the issue with that is that the project should be happening. Why is nothing happening? Either there's a zoning problem, blah, 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 whatever, but something should be happening.
But in our culture,
But this is what's frustrating, okay? You see how they're tap dancing around everything? Nobody wants to say, because he's, DJ Envy is suing the guy who exposed him, Tony the Closer, because a lot of the victims were reaching out to him, and that's how this started bubbling up. But everybody's got to tap dance around it, and that's how more people get hurt.
you just be looking for the quick flip. You know what I'm saying? We always want the quick flip. I get a nigga 100, he gotta give me some money back. Sometimes you might lose your 100 grand. That don't have nothing to do with a nigga not answering your phone calls. That don't have nothing to do with a nigga giving you bounce checks. So that's some bullshit. But in investing, sometimes you will lose your bread. So I think that he took a ton of people's money, and they saying that they never got their money back, and he not answering their calls. So that's some bullshit.
Cesar says, I was not going to address this on social media because this platform is used to tear people down, and I've always wanted to use my platform to inspire. I bet you did, buddy. However, the fact that I'm being dragged on lives and posts doesn't bother me at all because I know who I am and who I'm not. The thing that bothers me is my wife, the mother.
Yo, why the scammer's always a victim? Why are they talking like they a victim?
Of my child is being verbally attacked. The bigger issue here is my business.
They go straight to victimhood. I'm being attacked. There was mean to me. My kids. This social media is toxic. Anything to deflect from what happened.
Partner and friend DJ Envy is being brought into something he has nothing to do with. He
has nothing to do with promoting this business.
Never given any money to do any real estate deals with me, nor has he been party to nor has he been party to any deals, negotiations, nor partnerships that I have had with investors that have invested in real estate with me. Him, his family, nor his reputation should be pulled into dealings he was never involved in. He goes on to say,
So do you guys think, are you involved if you promote it? Are you involved if you say we, us, invest with us, come to our seminar, learn from us, work with us? You're not involved? Just because they didn't deposit the money in your account, you're not involved?
so while the clout chasers chase clout, I'm going to be the man that I am and ask those that feel like I've wronged them to get on a call with me and let's talk through how we move forward. My email nor phone number have changed. I'm not ducking anybody. I'm not dodging nobody. I'm busy over here trying to hold my empire together so these false allegations can stop. I ask each of you that have been on lives and posts recently to fact check, do your research, check your source, research his background. You can't sweep someone else's door when yours is money. Yes, you can. I'm not going to post your misfortune over the years, but I don't care about all of this. That was his response.
Yo, I cannot believe these shorts from Fabletics are two for $24. Look at the shorts I used to wear to the gym.
Vague. Again, if you're not answering my phone calls, my nigga, it's nothing really you can say to me.
All right, the jig is up.
I had an argument with one of my boys. He a real estate investor, and he was getting on Envy ass, and I kind of looked at it a little differently. I don't think Envy's to really be held to the fire for some shit that somebody that
Oh my
is doing.
God.
So he equated it to the podcast. He said, "Yo, if you were given, if you start taking people money." Me, Antoine, if I start taking people money and guide them into the real estate arena, and Joe gave me a platform in which to do so, right? He was like, people would hold Joe accountable. And I was like, but that's unfair.
Yeah, I don't
agree that Joe should be held accountable.
That's bullshit. Because if I just put him on the platform, but if I say, yo, invest with us, work with us, we out here doing this, we doing that, it's us, then you are responsible. Like, you got some role in it. It might be 20%, 30%. It ain't zero. That's bullshit. And they know that. They know Envy. So we all gonna protect people because nobody knows the victims. You know, the poor lady who used her settlement money to invest because she trusted Envy. It's like, F them. You know what I mean? Because I don't know them, but Envy's my guy. I don't know, man. That's nasty.
If he gave me a platform and I started doing some shiesty shit, I don't think that Joe is a culprit in that. I don't even think Joe is complicit in that. Because in my opinion, to be complicit, you got to have knowledge.
Okay, I disagree with you.
Yeah.
You don't need to have knowledge to be complicit. That's not true.
I think so. Because are you really complicit?
Yes.
How?
If after investigation they can show, well, first of all, if the sum gets too large, it's gonna be big investigation.
Sure.
It's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact.
And when that investigation happens, all they're gonna look to see is, did Envy take 1 penny from an illegal operation?
Sure.
They're not gonna look to see if he knew, if he didn't know. If they can prove he took a penny, then he's in.
Yes.
He's down.
All right, that was a waste. But it actually kind of proves my point. Like, this is why these people are hard to get out of here, because everyone's scared to say to stand up for the people that don't have a platform, right? Like, if one person's big, they have a platform, they have money, they can come after you for speaking out against them, and the little people just getting stepped on. And that's nasty. And especially from like people who Envy was talking about, oh, they're taking too much money from people for these seminars, et cetera, to do this is crazy. So let's hear the Envy part, see the case for Envy. I don't think that, so the funny thing is, I don't think promoting, knowingly or not knowingly, promoting a investment scam where the other guy goes rogue and scams probably is not a criminal offense unless you were benefiting monetarily, or see, I wonder if you need to know that he was doing it. And then how can you prove that you specifically knew he was stealing, or did you think that the business just went bad, right? And I think that's going to be hard to prove. And so I don't know. That's probably why he hasn't been arrested or anything, but they did raid iHeartRadio and the Breakfast Club and take some of the electronic information apparently. So I don't know though. I don't think that it's a criminal thing, but that doesn't mean you're not civilly liable, right? Because you promoted this. So again, I think what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. If you're promoting this guy and you started hearing smoke that he was scamming, and even one of your deals was going bad. And I get that a deal could go bad, but not like that. Not like that school that he's talking about where nothing happened.
After releasing the video, it fully hit me how large this Ponzi scheme is. After a few more victims sent me DMs on Instagram stating they lost a combined $700,000 to Cesar, I realized this is far bigger than I imagined. I even interviewed a real estate attorney based in New Jersey to help assist in understanding what's next in this case. Are Cesar Pina and DJ Envy going to end up in prison? So far, only civil lawsuits have been filed against Cesar Pina and DJ Envy. Why haven't we seen any criminal charges yet?
Well, obviously the government still needs to investigate the case. Before they come forward with charges, they're going to investigate the case in graphic detail. They're going to get as much evidence as they can. They're going to compile it together, and then they're going to move forward guns blazing. They're going to speak to every victim. They're going to speak to attorneys. They're going to gather information. They're going to get all evidence that they have that they can use against them. They're going to have it ready before they move forward with their case.
And that's the problem with scams, though, is that by the time they collect all the information and line everything up, the scammer done figured out how to hide money, how to spend the money, blow the money, do something with it. And so the victims, sure, you can win, but are you going to collect anything?
Unfortunately, it takes time for the federal authorities to gather substantial evidence necessary to win in court, but Cesar's time is coming. Seeing my dreams unfold, nightmares come true, it was time to marry my prison cell, and I said, yeah, I do. Here's DJ Envy daydreaming about being innocent in this Ponzi scheme.
So really, I think the question's going to rely on, did he know that this was a scheme? Did he use his public influence to perpetuate that scheme? That's going to be the question.
In civil lawsuits, everything gets exposed to the public.
Through those lawsuits, there's going to be something called discovery. And discovery is when depositions are conducted, notice to produce documents are sent out, requests for admissions, interrogatories. That's when both sides are trying to compile as much information as possible on exactly what happened. And through the discovery process, people learn things.
I have a theory. I think the reason why Envy hasn't publicly blasted Cesar yet is because he needs Cesar to stay quiet about his involvement. One of the victims just sent...
That's nasty, right? So Envy's not going to speak out against him because Envy's a bigger target if people want to go after him, or, you know, the... state prosecutor's office wants to go after him. He's a better target than Cesar.
Me this image. Cesar put all of his Ohio houses in his daughter's name a couple weeks ago on August 9th. Cesar deleted his Instagram last night, and I've been told he's on the run.
I think right now a case against Cesar is much more obvious than a case against DJ Envy. Looking at it kind of from a legal point of view, vantage point, I think it's going to be a hard case for them to prove that DJ Envy knew about this and was perpetuating it.
DJ Envy claims to have lost a significant amount of money in the Taylor Court Apartments deal and had no knowledge of the scheme. But he also had an office next door to Cesar for years. In the first video, I described how numerous investors came to Cesar's office demanding their payment back. DJ Envy is trying to convince us that he had no idea numerous investors were storming into the office next to his demanding money. And you were still promoting Cesar when your multi-million-dollar project that was supposed to be underway for 3 years looked like this?
If he had no idea, and there is obviously question to that because he was an investor himself and he is owed money by Cesar. I think it's about $500,000, something like that. So I think that kind of furthers his point that he had no clue that this was going on, that he in fact made money from initial investments, and based off that.
So he could say, I made money with this guy, so I trusted him. And then, you know, the one went bad, but I just figured that was one bad deal. My thing is, nobody contacted me that this guy was doing bad business. That's the thing. People stay quiet about people acting unethically, especially now. It's cool to like keep it cool, and if someone does you wrong, you can just take it. But we gotta call these people out.
That happening based off making that money, he kind of pushed this idea that you can invest in real estate, flip homes, make money, and people relied on those representations. But in order for him to have accountability here is if he knew about it and continued to push it, if continued to promote him.
Cesar paid Envy early in the scheme so that he would then promote that the investment was legit. It never was, and the signs were pretty obvious. The two victims that just reached out to me both believe that Envy was taking a percentage of the profits. My current position right now is that at some point Envy knew everything wasn't good and still promoted and received a profit, which means he likely has real liability here.
See, I agree with the first part, right? At some point, you had to become aware that the dude was doing some weird stuff with the money. Now, were you benefiting? I don't know. Whatever. I mean, indirectly, right? Because he could be taking money from the other people and then telling you your project's going good, because that's how they do a Ponzi scheme. They take money from the later investors to pay the first investors or the early investors. So it makes it look like they're doing business, but they're just taking person B's money and giving it to person A. So
Cesar promoted 30% returns in 6 months, which is already a huge red flag.
That's
Anyone who knows real estate,
that's actually not that crazy, because on flips, that's our target number is 30%.
knows that it actually makes 0 sense for Cesar to offer this. If he was as experienced and legitimate as he claims, he could borrow hard money at 10 to 14% a year. Why give the investors 30% every 6 months if you can borrow for half that over the full year?
So there's actually a couple of reasons why you would do that, because you can borrow hard money at, say, 12%. And so why would you take on an investor that you're paying 30%? But you're paying 30% of net profit. You're not paying interest on the money per se. So you're paying, so that percentage can work out differently. Secondly, the flexibility of having the cash on hand in a JV or a joint venture is a lot different than a hard money lender, because there's going to be more paperwork. It's hard to move fast. So the project that I'm doing right now, we took an investor money at some sort of expectation around those type of numbers. So that actually isn't that crazy. And I could see why you wouldn't just finance it hard money, even though the interest rate is less. The risk, like taking debt is different than taking a joint venture or equity.
DJ Envy promoted Cesar for multiple years to millions of people on his radio show and Instagram. He shared the stage with him at seminars. He had a team handling attendees' information to upsell them into investment opportunities at the seminars. Cesar was then promoting investment opportunities to these attendees at an office next.
See, that's a problem. So if Envy was hiring people to give information or set them up with Cesar, would that not make him liable for something?
door to Envy. Envy is trying to convince us that he lent out his credibility and reputation to a criminal and scammer to millions of people and didn't make $1 off of that? Come on, man. Cesar wants his phone number hidden from the feds right now since they're probably starting to call him. If you want your...
Yeah, okay, but actually, this is one thing. So I could, like, look, I'm not nowhere near these people's level, but if I would promote somebody for free, if I thought they were good and I thought they would help people, I would promote them and not take a cut.
Personal data, phone number, and personal address hidden as well, I have the perfect solution for you. Incogni is on your side for is how often our data is being used against. The DOJ recently found these 3 data brokers as providing personal sign-up process check % off of Incogni. It's a great service. When did Envy realize this investment opportunity was a Ponzi scheme?
Right.
If DJ Envy had no idea that this was going on, and like I said, he appears to be on its face a victim himself, then everything should be fine. But if he did know, and there came a crossroad where maybe at one point he didn't, and he found out that this was a Ponzi scheme, and that he was still perpetuating this narrative that make 25, 30, 35% in 5, 6, 7, 8 months, then there's a problem for him.
During discovery of the civil cases and during the inevitable criminal cases for Cesar, we're going to find out when DJ Envy knew that this investment opportunity was not legitimate and what his behavior was after. So what happens if Envy knew and still promoted the opportunity?
It could very well be the same liability that Cesar has. They can tie them in both together. They can be charged both for the same crime.
For my teachers that said I wouldn't make it here, I scam a day what you make a year. Might get hit with the RICO. Let's do a quick breakdown of what type of crime Cesar committed.
The real estate
Cesar
RICO.
was acquiring commercial loans on properties and raising money from investors for the same property.
Wired into an account that was
receiving money was also a crime. And never property. Not disclosing that fact to investors is fraud, and taking a loan for renovations and never even renovating the property is mortgage fraud. Receiving money via wire from investors is also a crime. Can you guess which one?
If money was wired into an account that was supposed to be used for an investment, but it wasn't, and the person who sent the money relied on that representation, now you have wire fraud. You know, a lot of people don't know, when you have a wire fraud case, every single wire is a charge. Every single exchange of funds is a charge. That's a separate charge. And every charge carries years in prison.
From what I've seen, I'm convinced.
So if you guys want to chop it up, talk about anything, ask me any questions. It could be about business, real estate, whatever. It could even be about talk to me nice and dating and relationships, since that's the other podcast I do. Or if you want to talk about envy, I really want to know what level of accountability from the information that we have now do you think envy should face? Or what, on a moral level and maybe on a civil and a legal level, like what do you think should happen? How is he still at the Breakfast Club? Because honestly, if you think about it, he's an employee for iHeartRadio and the radio station. As an employee, he invites someone that he endorsed as an employee and at the time using radio airwaves to promote someone who is allegedly scamming and stealing money and doing fraud and wire fraud and mortgage fraud and stuff like that. Is iHeartRadio, since that information though was promoted on their airwaves, could they be sued? Because, okay, so if you guys don't know, and I'm not a lawyer, but I do know this. If you sue somebody that's broke, it's a waste. I mean, you can win, but you're not going to get money. So what happens is people want to sue the people with the money. So you might not be able to get the money from Cesar, but maybe you can get the money from Envy if he's held liable. And you could definitely probably get a settlement or something out of iHeartRadio or the radio station or whatever if you can link them to promoting this scam. And from what I know about corporate America, they don't play with this liability, but Envy has been there for so long. Maybe they're defending them, but companies usually don't have much loyalty. Is this going to become a problem for corporate where they start catching lawsuits right? Because they're going to name Cesar and all the people he's associated with. They could name Envy, and they could say it at the radio station because Envy was using the radio station as an employee to promote this guy. See how it all strings together? And so you want to tie your lawsuit to the biggest money thing, because I bet you Cesar, somebody said he paid $1 million in bail, right? But if he's hiding the money and you can't, because if you sue, you kind of got to find the money and force them to give it to you. You can't, the court don't really do that. So if he don't have the money, you can sue or win all you want. It don't matter. But a big corporation might have the money, so you can sue them.
That Cesar committed over 100 crimes in this scheme. Here's one I didn't even think of before.
It can be as simple as an IRS issue where he took money that was supposed to be invested for a project in Patterson, but then took that money and used it to buy a car or use it to buy a personal item, and he didn't declare that income on his tax return. If he did that one time, okay, you could make the excuse that I didn't know, I wasn't aware that I had to report that. But if the IRS can prove that this was systematic, that he did it over and over again, and he failed to declare income, that's tax evasion. You can go to prison just for that.
The Pinas were still living in their...
See, this is the funny thing, because clearly Cesar was the one doing all the real bad stuff, right? But now I'm thinking about it. Could Cesar snitch on Envy and try to make him take the fall? Or take the brunt of it, right? So they give him a lesser punishment, and then they include Envy in it. If he was, I don't know if, because again, we don't know if he specifically knew. I find it hard to believe that he didn't know nothing, or he didn't know anything. When did Envy know that this was going bad?
Franklin Lakes mansion this summer, despite their first and second mortgages going into default. I would not be surprised if they falsified tax returns to acquire loans for the sole purpose of taking the money. Add another charge to the crime scoreboard. We know that Cesar was signing joint venture agreements with the investors, which left them...
You know what, though? I mean, I feel like for these kind of crimes, it don't matter if it's like 100 counts. It's not going to matter that much.
Unprotected.
These situations, these were all, for the most part, unsecured. It was just a joint venture agreement. So it was person investing money with Cesar, okay, his company. That company would use that money.
That's why the return on joint ventures is higher, because they share the risk with you. When you take a hard money loan, the lender's not taking that much of a risk, because they're just going to foreclose on the property if you don't pay them their loan back. So the joint venture is normally like unsecured. So you're taking a lot of risk. Hence why the return is better.
To do X, Y, and Z, and in 5 months, 6 months, here's how much you would make back. I think most people just wanted to know, okay, I'm giving you 200 grand, how much are you giving me back? But it's not that simple. Attorneys are trained to think worst case scenario. But I think when people signed these agreements, they thought best case scenario. My best case scenario is I'm going to give this guy 100 grand. He's going to give me back 135. That's 35%. I don't know of anything providing those type of returns right now. I don't know of a single investment. So when he presented these agreements, I think he presented it to them in a way of, look, I have this property. Here's this house. Give me 100 grand. I've done it before. I did it for this person. I did it for DJ Envy. Look how much he made. And they relied on that representation. And that's where you come to the question of fraud. Was this fraud? I'm not saying it was, but that's the question that needs to be answered.
The major mistake that investors made was giving Cesar money without having their money secured by anything. Right. When you flip houses and need money for the purchase and renovation, you acquire a hard money loan. The lenders place a lien on the property, and if you don't pay them back according to the terms of the agreement, they can foreclose on you and recoup their money through the sale of the asset. These investors didn't have a lien on the property, so they didn't actually own anything. It was just a signed piece of paper with Cesar, essentially.
That's a problem. Like if you do a joint venture, right? Like you're not on the deed, so you just have like a contract or like the JV agreement. Don't do that with people unless you really trust them.
When it's a secure transaction, literally, if you don't get your money back, you can foreclose, you can file an action for specific performance, you can go to the court and say, I lent.
Specific performance is to legally compel someone to do something, so you can like make them sell a property or do whatever.
My money to this investor to rehab this property. He owns the property, but he hasn't rehabbed it. Please force the sale of this property so I can get back my money. Or you can foreclose on the mortgage and have the property go up for a sheriff's sale. When it does sell, you'll get back your money then. But that's not what happened here. This was, here's $100,000. Let me know when my 135 is ready. So obviously there's a lot of people that were damaged by this. So now they have to go run to the courthouse and file a lawsuit in something called the Law Division.
I don't know what you heard about me, but my investors can't get $1 out of me. No Cadillacs or investment dollars you won't see. In prison, my ass cheeks are going to CLAP. Cesar is facing numerous civil lawsuits and likely will be facing criminal complaints soon. Now let's discuss how the victims can get paid back.
They could win a couple ways. They could win by technicality. If they
So I'm dealing with this right now. So this is going to be interesting.
don't answer discovery or something like that. They could win on summary judgment, basically saying, hey, court, there's no dispute here. If we take everything that we say as fact and you view it in the light most favorable to the defendant, I still win. And the court could issue a summary judgment. Or it can go to trial and you can get a judgment. And the judge can rule in your favor. But all that is...
So that's my thing. I want a judgment at trial. But then collecting is a whole different thing.
Well, I was telling you earlier, it's a piece of paper that says, Cesar owes me this much. That's it.
An unfortunate reality for...
Yeah, when you sue people, people think that you get, like, they're going to, like, money shows up. But that's not what happens. You have a piece of paper that says that they're supposed to pay you. That's what you get when you win, like when you sue somebody and win at trial.
Victims in Ponzi schemes like this one is that collecting becomes the next problem. You can have a signed contract with Cesar and be able to win a lawsuit, but if he doesn't have any money, you don't have any money to collect.
Now you have to go collect on that piece of paper. And that's what a lot of people, they don't realize. They think that the judge is going to go out there and turn Cesar upside down and shake him from his pants. And money. No, that's not going to happen.
Not all hope is lost. Given that Cesar does own some of these properties without a mortgage, there is a way to force a sale.
If they can prove the money they invested was going to be used specifically for a property and that property isn't liened or encumbered, they can file a specific performance suit and force the sale of that property. But again, who owns the property? Are there liens? Are there tax liens? We don't know.
Many of these...
And the problem is, if he has different LLCs that own the properties, you'd have to pierce the corporate veil and do all... Like, it's really hard to execute on, especially with the guy who he's scamming, so he might protect this stuff to make it even more difficult. And you might spend more money trying to go after the guy than it even costs. Well, not in these cases because this is a lot of money, but on smaller amounts, it might cost you more to sue them and try to collect than it is to just let it go. That's crazy, right?
Investors likely signed up thinking Cesar owned $50 million in real estate. If things go wrong, he could sell a property and pay the victims back, right? Well, maybe not.
He said, I have $50 million in real estate. But what does that mean? Does he have $50 million in real estate and $70 million in mortgages? We don't know. He can have $1 billion in real estate. But if the properties aren't worth more than what you owe on them or more than what the liens are, he could very well be in the negative. So he could have $50 million in real estate, but a $20 million negative net worth.
Since the last video was released, another lawsuit has been filed against Cesar. Ruddy Rodriguez filed a complaint alleging Cesar took $100,000 for the 523 Park Ave property that probably sounds familiar to a lot of you by now. Additionally, 3 new investors reached out to me privately sharing they've lost a combined $700,000 that I haven't reported on. Correction, I just had another 3 reach out to me totaling an additional $2.4 million in losses.
That's millions
It's entirely
of dollars.
possible that Cesar's real estate empire was built on investor money in the Ponzi scheme. This is Jenny Tips, Cesar's wife. One of Jenny's close friends is this woman named Teresa Gudice. On March 4th, 2014, Teresa and her husband Joe entered a guilty plea to 41 counts of fraud following a deal struck with federal prosecutors. The couple was accused of engaging in bank, mail, wire, and bankruptcy fraud, which allegedly saw them net over $5 million over a 10-year period. That sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? Their conversations probably go like this. Hey Jenny, has your husband committed more felonies than my husband yet? Haha, girl, my hubby has yours beat by a long shot. Jenny, if you ever need...
I gotta say that there's a special place in hell for people that steal. Especially people who have money who steal from people who have less money. That is disgusting. I want to know what's going through their head. I think maybe I don't know. See, I always give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they think that it's going to work out somehow. Like, maybe they're not overtly like, I'm going to get them. But how do you take from people with less than you and live with yourself? I don't think the punishment for this stuff is strong enough.
Help with navigating prison after committing fraud, I'll be glad to help. Cesar and Jennifer are going to start collecting default judgments with all of the victims lining up. Here's what could happen.
You know what it is? These people are on TV and entertainment again, and they look rich. The world thinks they're rich, but their money is effed up. I think that's what's happening. They actually don't have money. That's why they have to do all this weird stuff to take from regular people that believe in them or like them. That's nasty. They need to go to jail.
Now, if you do get a judgment, in New Jersey, the process is you could serve something called an information subpoena. And you could say, hey, defendant, I have a judgment against you. You owe me $1 million. I need to know where are your bank accounts, how many cars you have, do you own any jewelry? I need a list of all the real estate that you own, any companies that you have a holding in, all this financial information. Most defendants either ignore it or they don't want to answer it, or they answer it incorrectly, or they answer it incomplete. If that happens, the plaintiffs could actually file a request for the defendant's arrest. If that warrant is...
They'll try to reject your letters and hide and act like they ain't do nothing. Meanwhile, you already won at court and they still hiding. That's crazy.
Signed by a judge in a civil court, they're not going to go and issue an arrest warrant and go to his house and arrest him. But if he's pulled over and he's flagged to have a warrant under failure to respond to an information subpoena, they could arrest him. And again, these aren't criminal charges, but force him to answer that subpoena.
Cesar appears to be avoiding the civil lawsuits. I asked Peter if he could do this.
Civilly, of course. You could let it all go into default, get all these judgments, and then go file bankruptcy.
Cesar spent years claiming to be a real estate mogul, but now that it's time to pay his debts, he went ghost. We know he owns properties, so hopefully these will be forced sales and money goes to the victims.
I'm not a bankruptcy attorney, but I know from experience through real estate litigation, there is a nuance with bankruptcy where if the debt that you owe was a result of a fraud, meaning you took on that debt knowing that you might file bankruptcy or knowing you couldn't pay off that debt, it could become non-dischargeable in bankruptcy.
All of this is the least of Cesar and Jenny's worries. The feds are surely investigating by now, which means it's almost over for them. This is clearly a fraud scheme, and they'll have no problem building a strong case against them.
Yeah, but what's going to actually happen in the end? I bet you that whatever the consequences are will not be appropriate for the benefits that he got from doing the crime. That's what I really think. Like, if he does a couple years and then watch, he's going to come out and still have money. He's still going to have money hidden somewhere.
And when Cesar gets out...
And people will still be giving him money. I don't get it.
Prison, the only job available to him will be dog walking.
That's not true.
And now Cesar and I own over 2,000 properties worth probably around $100 million.
If they do, time to sell and pay off the victims. If you didn't own that much, then you committed false advertising fraud. If you raised money from investors based on claims that you owned $100 million in real estate, and you didn't, and then Cesar and Envy took the money and ran, you deserve prison time.
Yeah, but you know what the thing about that is it's really easy to say that you have all this money or equity value, right? So the property value is a bit subjective, et cetera, et cetera. You say you own all these properties. It's kind of easy to say that you own a big number. Like I could say, I own a couple $1 million in real estate. That's technically true, but how much do you owe on the properties, what's your net worth, all that kind of stuff. But you can get away with saying stuff like that, especially in real estate, because the numbers are big.
Shout out to Tony the Closer for leading the charge on this story and holding DJ Envy and Cesar Pina accountable. We have one final character that hasn't been introduced yet.
When am I getting my rent? What kind of property manager are you? It's not my fault, man.
The kind that has a sharp haircut all the time, I'll tell you that much.
Lucci is Caesar's brother, and he is crazy. How many times has your brother fired you? Every day.
Lucci is my favorite character in this story. Lucci is a member of the team and should be included in depositions as well. Considering he's Caesar's brother, I would not look like someone involved in a criminal operation. He also looks like Hard Rock Nick's cousin. Lucci is the only property manager I know that gives his tenants cash money. At least he always keeps his relationships professional.
Listen, it's going down December 9th. Come check us out.
You see this? This is the scam that began, everybody. He got the chain, all this money, envelopes. Hey, give us money because we know what we're doing with it. This is, guys, when you see people reckless with money, don't give them your money. Why would you do that?
Big Bro Flippin' NJ and DJ MB. This is going to be our second seminar.
I've never seen a property manager hold so much cash and focus so much on his jewelry. And if there's anyone I want dealing with my money, it's a guy that definitely looks like this. Given how frequently he and his friends visit cash-heavy businesses, salon. It gets even better. Looking at Caesar, we know this is a family that likes to eat, but sometimes it's not just food being eaten.
You see how sexy I'm getting?
Oh, God.
Eat a lot of pussy.
Oh, God.
Remember, Envy and Caesar own $100 million worth of real estate, yet 30 or more victims haven't been paid $1. Maybe they mean they own their property.
See, like, this is the marketing. And now you say you got nothing to do with it? I don't got nothing to do with that.
Property in the metaverse. Thanks for watching.
So, it's nasty out here. I think I covered everything. I'm going to do more of these lives. I plan to do them at least on Wednesday at 7. But I think I'm just going to do them whenever I want to. I'm just going to talk about anything. It don't always have to be real estate. At the end of the day, this really speaks to me, this issue, because as bougie and as elitist as I have become, I want the little people to win. And it's nasty that... That's why I'm mad at Envy more than this bozo, because you are leading your people to be taken advantage of, and you haven't said anything other than I didn't take $1 and you didn't benefit. Well, what about you promoting it? What? You're not going to take any accountability. You're not going to try to help nobody. You're not going to speak out so he can stop scamming. I mean, now, but I mean, other people had to speak out. And it's really hard to believe that he didn't know nothing the whole time. So put it in the comments. What do you guys think about Envy's culpability? That's really what I want to know. And let me know how you enjoyed this stream, if you hung out. I'm going to do more. I'll definitely get better. I'll definitely improve. It is weird just talking into a mic. Hopefully I get some Q&A, so that is the plan, is to have people come on and chat. Everybody can come in and, ask questions, do some consultations, kick it, react to videos, have a good time, elevate our knowledge. But I got to go to bed because I have a soccer game at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm out of here. Thanks, guys. See ya.